The fire settles when the wind eases, and for a moment the sparks hang like small stars before they fall back into ash. I have warmed my hands this way on many nights, listening to the road breathe beyond the circle of light, and I have learned that some stories come closer when spoken softly. They say the old road was already old when the first stone was set to mark it. It ran between low hills and bogland, a pale ribbon pressed into the earth by feet that no one now remembers. In daylight it seemed harmless enough. At night it learned your name. The wanderer who walked it that season was called Rowan, though few spoke his name aloud. He travelled alone, not from pride but from habit, and kept his pace steady even when the dusk grew thick. There was a rule he followed without knowing where he had learned it: never hurry on the ancient road, and never stop at the place where paths meet. The first question came early. Why did the birds fall silent whenever he passed a standing stone? The second followed soon after. Why did his shadow lean the wrong way when the moon rose? Rowan carried no charm, no iron nail or braided cord. He trusted the road to do what it had always done. The ruts guided his feet. The hedges leaned close as if to listen. Every few miles a cairn stood, stones stacked by hands long gone, each one marking something not said. At the first crossroads he slowed, though he did not mean to. 3 paths opened before him like fingers. He chose the center, as travelers often do, and felt the air tighten. A faint sound followed, no more than a breath drawn behind him, but when he turned, there was only the road he had left. He walked on. Night made a habit of repeating itself along that stretch. A gate appeared twice. A fox crossed his path 3 times, always from right to left. Once, he heard his own footsteps a half-beat behind his own. Rowan told himself these were tricks of tired eyes. He kept to the rule. He did not stop. He did not speak. Still, the omens kept pace. A feather lay where none should be. A wheel rut filled with clear water, though the ground was dry. At the second crossroads, the air smelled briefly of peat smoke, and the sound of distant singing rose and fell like a tide. He did not look down any path for long. He passed through the center and felt the weight of many gazes slide across his back. The road narrowed, stones pressed closer together. Silence became a thing with edges. It was said among those who travelled that the road listened best to those who pretended it did not. Rowan tried this. He counted his steps. He hummed a tune with no words. He imagined the morning ahead, yet the signs followed him as faithfully as a hound. At the third crossroads, a figure stood where the paths met. Not solid, not quite shadow. It was shaped like a traveller, wrapped in a cloak that shifted as if stirred by a wind Rowan could not feel. Its face was turned away. He did not stop. As he passed, the figure lifted a hand, and for an instant Rowan saw his own ring on its finger, a plain band he had lost years before. The figure did not speak. It did not need to. Rowan's steps faltered for the first time. The road beneath him felt thinner, like ice over water. He thought of turning back, but the path behind him had already folded itself into darkness. Further on, the road rose gently, and the land opened. Mist drifted low, catching at his ankles. Shapes moved within it, never close enough to touch, always just at the edge of sight. Travellers, perhaps, or the memory of them. I have stood where he stood, feeling the same chill settle between the shoulders. Knowing better than to look too long at what waits there, Rowan remembered then another rule, spoken once by an old woman at a fireside long ago. The road gives what it takes, but never at the same time. He did not know what it had taken from him. he began to suspect. The omens grew kinder in a way that frightened him more. A warm breeze passed. The smell of bread reached him. Laughter echoed, familiar though he could not place it. Ahead, a light flickered, steady and inviting. He walked towards it. The light stood at the fourth crossroads, where no crossroads should have been. Lanterns hung in the air without posts. Figures gathered there, faces blurred, voices low. They made space for Rowan as he approached, their movements smooth, practiced. One stepped forward. This one wore his mother's shawl. It spoke his name. Rowan stopped. The roadside, a long sound, like a body settling into rest. The figures leaned closer. The lanterns brightened. The shawl slipped from the figure's shoulders and became mist. The presence at the crossroads was not a single thing. It was a passing, a gathering of those who had once walked and never quite left. They followed wanderers not to claim them, but to remind them of what trailed behind. Promises unkept, names unspoken, paths abandoned. Rowan understood then what the road had taken. It had taken his forgetting. He stepped back. He did not speak. He placed his foot carefully on the center path and waited for the weight to lift. It did, slowly. The figures thinned. The light dimmed. The omens loosened their hold, one by one. When Rowan moved again, the road felt solid beneath him. By dawn, he reached the place he had been seeking, though it mattered less than it had before. He would not forget the rules now. He would listen when the birds fell silent. He would watch his shadow, and when he came to a crossroads, he would pass through without haste, carrying his memories like a quiet burden. The fire is lower now, and the road beyond it has gone still. I can almost hear footsteps where there are none, keeping time with my own breath, waiting for the moment when the light fades. Some fires are not meant to be left behind.